but it's about this girl that sort of like enters a computer.
So it's like Lawnmower Man.
I don't know what that is.
Oh
actually.
my God.
Wait, what is it? What is that? Am I showing my age right now? What is it?
No, I'm showing my age.
Oh no. Oh no. Coming to you from Crunchyroll HQ, this is The Anime Effect, where we take pop culture through the anime lens to bring you the latest news, views, and shows you love, or will soon to love. Today we have some cool stuff to talk about. We, of course, have some anime and gaming news to touch on. We have to talk about Mario Day.
Yeah.
Of course.
Get your carts ready.
Yeah, some exciting announcements came out of that. We also have some Demon Slayer, some Dan-to-Dan, and of course, some Blue Lock updates.
Yes.
And then we're going to switch things up, answer a fan question for our main story, because we couldn't just to narrow down to 5 minutes of sci-fi. We had to let it
we couldn't put it in a neat package. So.
Yeah, we had to let it infect us and take over. So, so yeah, we're going to discuss some sci-fi, some mystery. I'm your host, Leah President.
It's me, LeAlec Murray.
At the end of last episode, we did tease that we were going to have a special guest this episode. However, schedules.
Schedules be scheduling.
Sometimes schedules be scheduling. So we are actually going to have them on an upcoming episode. Mm-hmm. So exciting things are in store. And for those of you who are watching this and not just listening, you may see someone a little different here at the table with us.
We're missing a certain someone. So
yes, the one person that keeps us on the rails every week is gone.
We're gonna get wild today, ladies and gentlemen.
Strap in. Daddy is not home, but we do have Miyano of Sasaki and Miyano fame,
aka
with us.
Card Nick.
Yeah, he was just around the office, and we're like, oh man, we need something to stand in for Nick because we got this empty chair here. So we stole him from the brand team. And
when you guys like see the video, it looks just like him. Like it's a spitting image.
Spitting image. But yeah, so this weekend was actually a big night for movies. The night for movies. Let's not talk about the John Cena bit. We can move right past that. Right. But it was the Oscars weekend. So are you an Oscars watcher? Do you follow it? Or
I follow it. I don't generally watch it because usually when the Oscars is on, it's usually like
so much bric-a-brac.
There's so much around it, but it's just a dense show to watch for me, just in general.
There used to be a period of time where I would go through and like watch all the Best Picture noms, but I don't know.
Yeah, I had
that's a lot of work.
Me and my buddy Dylan tried to do that one year, and we're like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah,
it was difficult. Yeah,
much like sepia toned, or what is that, like the blue filter that like all of the
I don't know.
Yeah, all of the different.
You're talking to the wrong person on that one.
Yeah, there's like fancy movie coloration that is like all of them have the same palette, but there were some switch ups this year. But of course, The Boy and the Heron won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
And that was kind of a loaded category too, because one of the standouts from that category was Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Which won a lot of awards like outside of the Oscar season. So
you felt like it still got its flowers. And
I feel like it did, and I love that the animation sector is now very heavily contested. And it looks like it's going to continue to be because, animated films aren't slowing down. And the way that we look at animated films has changed, and they're not being as segmented. So like now a lot of films have opportunities, right? So, we'll talk about one later as far as the Mario of it all. But films like that like are even getting a shot to be like, hey, like we can stand in this conversation.
Yeah.
But Boy and the Heron just felt like that was its award to lose. Like to be completely honest, like it felt like you're
anything Miyazaki is like.
Right. You're automatically like, in a death match with them.
Exactly. And this is actually Studio Ghibli's first Oscar win since 2003.
That's insane.
Yeah, when they won Best Animated Feature for Spirited Away.
Wow,
which
I totally forgot.
I can't believe it was that long ago. That's actually insane.
Also, like another big win from this weekend was Godzilla
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
it. I mean, if you've been listening to the show for the past couple of episodes, you know we're super annoying about anything big monster.
Correct.
We actually recently saw Godzilla Minus One minus color in the theater together. I am not surprised by their Oscar win for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah.
I think Godzilla is something that you gotta do it right.
Yeah.
And if your Godzilla's looking goofy, like
now we only have the two penultimate Godzillas. It's Legendary's Chunky Boy, or it's the minus one, you know, kind of like kind of chunky but kind of not Godzilla. You know, I don't know where it's going. So this is the first Oscar for a Godzilla film, which
crazy.
Is huge because it's been
giant skyscraper size.
Kaiju
size.
But it's very validating, right? Because we talked about this on, you know, past episodes. Is like,
for sure,
as the industry moves, people are starting to pay more attention to things that are not just traditional film, and Godzilla is a perfect example of that. So not only is it, you know, them being celebrated for just this huge culmination of, you know, Godzilla works for the last, was it 70 years?
Something insane like that.
And now they're like, okay, cool, like the potential of them doing a sequel is also now kind of daunting, right? Because it's like, what do we do next? But, you know, what's also really cool is that all the creators are coming out and they're celebrating, and the Godzilla shoes, listen.
Oh, right.
Listen.
And, okay, so for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the creative team of Godzilla wore these amazing custom shoes that had like a custom Godzilla heel. Matsui Ryosuke is the designer for those. They were super cool. So everyone on the Minus One team wore these shoes that are essentially like, it's like almost like a Rick Owens type dress shoe, but with like the Godzilla claw as the heel.
Super cool.
I'm dying for the menswear shoe. I need it. And apparently it's going to be on sale pretty soon.
Yeah. They said it'll be like
sale.
Super limited. And apparently there's two versions. There's the claw version, and then there's a spine version too.
Whoa! So, imagine like LEDs in that.
Yeah,
dude, that'd be sick. Like if it like had kind of like the radioactive purpley glow from like Shin Godzilla.
That'd be insane.
That would be crazy.
But I also think the cool thing is that, you know, the director has been carrying around the Godzilla like figurines.
Yes.
So for the Oscars, it was all gold Godzilla with a bow tie, and like he was taking pictures with the award and Godzilla, and so many like artists that I follow on social media, like, you know, huge Godzilla fans, and they were drawing life-size like pictures of Godzilla in a bow tie.
That's
like,
awesome.
So it's really cool to see.
Who's even doing that? Like,
I don't know, man.
Who's showing up with like the group drip anymore? Like, what are we doing?
There's not a lot of people that do it. So
like, come on, they like the Boy and the Heron crew could have showed up all at like birds. Like, you remember when Bjork did like the swan neck? Like, bring that back. Like, let's do some group costume fits.
No.
Spider-Man crew could just be all like Spider-Man costumes and suits. That would be cool.
I might be about that. That might be pretty cool. It continues to be, you know, a big year for, you know, anime and anything that's in, you know, the anime like adjacent sphere. So really, really happy to see those, you know, walk away with Oscars.
Yeah, for sure.
Up next, it's the news. We've got the latest from Nintendo, as well as Demon Slayer, Dandanon, and the Blue Lock anime. We'll have that in a sec. All right, let's get into the news, starting with Mario Day updates from this week.
Which is crazy that Nick is gone this week, because I know he would love to talk about this.
Completely in his bag, and he is not here. Card Nick will just have to speak for him.
Oh, wait, yes, I'm so sorry to address you like that when you're in the room with us, Nick. I'm so sorry.
So the biggest story coming out of Mario Day is definitely going to be the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie, which has a date of April 3rd, 2026. I think this is where video game movies are going. Like, I think we're going to get more of this, which is great. Like, not to say that, you know, live action won't play a part in it, because I'm sure it will. But, you know, the the way that Illumination and Nintendo have decided to do like this Mario Brothers animated universe has been pretty cool. I'm still holding out for that Donkey Kong movie. Who knows?
I mean, what would the alternative be? Like the old-fashioned Mario TV show where they were like live action at the beginning, and then do you know what I'm talking about?
With Captain Lou Albana? Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're talking about.
Like, can you imagine this one starting out like that, where we got like Chris Pratt like in a plumber's uniform and he like jumps down?
No, if they want to be really meta about it, it would have to be the crew from the original Mario Brothers movie from the 90s. That's how they get really meta about it. Also, some really cool announcements out of Mario Day was the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which is probably one of my favorite Nintendo games ever. That remaster is coming out on May 23rd. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is June 27th. And then Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, and Mario Tennis are going to be on Switch Online. So I get to further break up friendships with Mario Tennis.
Okay, but can you explain to me, so Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, so is that just a remastered version? Or
yes. Luigi's Mansion 2 originally came out on 3DS. And it's never seen like a real proper like console release. So that's what they're doing with this one, is that they're porting it up to Switch, giving it all the pretty graphics and shine down and all that stuff. So
cool. Yeah,
I'm excited to play it because I loved the first Luigi's Mansion. Yes. And then I tried to play Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS, and it felt kind of wonky. I mean, probably because you're playing like this, and you don't really have a lot of space to work with.
That's why we all like wear glasses and contacts, right? Because we were holding our game systems this close. Like we never listened to the advisories of not sitting close to the TV.
We're playing Game Boys in the dark on road trips. And,
exactly.
But this is exciting. Wasn't expecting a lot new out of this, especially because they just had a new Mario game release. So I'm totally down for some remasters, especially for some stuff that I've missed because I didn't finish it, like Luigi's Mansion, or stuff I want to play again because Thousand Year Door is probably one of the GOAT Mario RPGs. And
I think Luigi's Mansion is going to scare a whole new generation of kids because it was actually scary to me as a kid. I mean, it still has one of the best themes of all time. Dun, 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 dun.
And it's actually kind of cool because it's coming at also around the time that the new Ghostbusters movie is coming out as well.
Oh, so true.
It's some weird kind of ghost hunting,
a weird crossover that's not really a crossover.
Yeah,
it's just a zeitgeist. Yeah.
So a bunch of anime stuff happened over the weekend.
Yes, let's get into the anime. So Demon Slayer, of
Kimetsu
course.
no Yaiba.
Yes. So, the full name, the full mouthful name, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Hashira Training Arc TV anime released a brand new trailer in which we heard some new music, which is like the new opening, which is by My First Story Hyde. Perfect shonen opening. Very good thematically.
Yes,
so Demon Slayer, if you're not familiar, it's probably one of the biggest anime out there right now. It's about Tanjiro, who is sort of like avenging his family, and he, as the name suggests, is a demon slayer.
Slaying demons.
And his sister, Nezuko, actually became a demon in the same attack that killed his family. That's not a spoiler. It happens in the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it's the first 10 to 15 minutes.
But yeah, so that is going to be coming out in May. Ooh. So a lot of new cool anime coming out this season.
Speaking of new cool anime, this is probably my favorite that's coming.
Yes.
Dandadan is going to be streaming on Crunchyroll this October. If you're not familiar with the title, Dandadan follows two unlikely friends. One that believes in spirits, the other that believes in UFOs and is quite fanatical about it.
A perfect pair, yeah.
Which leads them to many weird alien and spirit encounters, but it also happens to be a battle shonen at the same time. So it's gonna be a really fantastic anime, I think.
If you're an X-Files watcher, or like you know of it and kind of the vibe, it's sort of like that, but like more of kind of like a hijinks teenage.
It's a really goofy X-Files. It's like if you would take the slapstick like Scooby-Doo-ness and put it with like X-Files, it's kind of what you get.
Scooby-Doo is a good comparison because it's to my memory, it's like episodic or like different cases.
Yeah. So for the most part, like they do run into different cases, but there is still an overarching story as well too.
So the animation studio Science Saru is actually probably the perfect animation studio to like bring this story to life.
Yes.
Because they did anime like Devilman Crybaby, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Keep Your Hands Off Isaacan. They all individually have these really bespoke styles. I think this studio really brings that to life. Like Devilman Crybaby had some really unique animation and color palette and almost like veered into, like, it was definitely anime, but it almost veered into another kind of sphere of art style. It was really cool. And if you know anything about like Dan and like the covers of the manga, are you a manga reader of this? It's very colorful and kind of like Zom 100.
Yeah,
like or even Chainsaw Man, kind of the electric.
Covers are great. The mangaka has a great like fashion sense. Like all of the characters are like dressed to the nines. You know, depending on which chapter you're reading. And I think they are. I think Science Saru is the best studio for this because you have to, just because of the way the art is that it needs somebody that has a very like you said, very bespoke kind of kind of touch. Like
it has a style to it that really needs a group like this studio to take on because it is very like, just watch the trailer, you'll get the vibes.
Yeah, you'll get it. You'll understand.
Yeah, it kind of is reminiscent of, to me, when Chainsaw Man first came out and like some of the trailers were coming out with just the stylized animation. So yeah, I'm really excited to watch that. I actually just recently ordered a ton of volumes of it, so I'm going to try to catch up before then.
I think I bought up to like volume 6, I think. Maybe?
Yeah.
It's you're in for a treat. Like if you haven't actually, if you're just getting to sit down and like read it for the first time. It's peak.
Yeah, and I know Nick is a fan, right, Nick?
Yeah.
I'm patting on the shoulder of the stand-up next to me. But if you are wanting to get into manga, like pro tip, used bookstore sites are your best friend. I just get like secondhand manga all the time. Like if I'm not sure if I'm going to love it or if I don't want to like dedicate to like buying 3, 4, 5 volumes of something, I get them for like $2 and like different deals on like a bunch of different websites and try a bunch. And of course my little sister is a manga fan, so anything that like she gets my like trickle down manga collection. So it gets put to good use. So.
No, that's a good point. Like I've definitely filled out my collection, especially like in the most recent years for stuff that's out of print. I've had to do quite a bit of searching. So, you know, the like Half Price Books has been my best friend for like the last couple of years.
The thing is, manga collectors take such good care of their collections. So even if you're getting used books,
it looks like a brand new copy.
Yeah, the spine is like never broken. Like people don't mark them up. Like you can get some good stuff like that.
I wanted to make some call outs because we actually do have some really awesome shows coming up for spring season.
Yeah, and go on Crunchyroll News to get that full list, by the way. Everything that's going to be on Crunchyroll is going to be right front and center on Crunchyroll News. So take a look at it.
Call us out.
Cardnick, our wonderful news director.
So a couple titles I want to call out from this. Kaiju number 8. Which is really, really big on Shonen Jump right now. Yeah,
we talked about it last week.
We did. KonoSuba season 3. And this is not to be confused with the spinoff. This is main story.
Yes, main story canon.
The gang is back.
Yes.
Hijinks ensue.
Yes.
And Windbreaker, which is another really, popular manga that's been going on right now. So we were talking about delinquent animes not too long ago, and this is another one. Yeah. So if you like, the Buchigiris and you like Tokyo Revengers, the Windbreaker is going to be up your alley. But please stay tuned because we're going to be announcing more shows for the spring season. Come out. So stick to Crunchyroll News. We'll probably talk about it more here as well too.
Yeah, you'll be the first to know.
There you go. And last but not least,
certainly not least,
one of my favorites, Blue Lock is coming back. Blue Lock, the movie episode Nagi, just released its new trailer. Blue Lock is a sports anime that follows the Japanese football union as they test out a brand new training regimen.
And that's putting it lightly.
That's putting it very lightly.
It's probably like the sports anime with the highest stakes. Like,
these kids go through it.
They go through trauma. Like
they go through it. But also, when you talk about sports anime, this has probably been one of my favorites. And it just happened at such a perfect time that the World Cup was going on. And then this, Blue Lock happens. And just this whole swirl of soccer is happening.
Do you follow soccer or football?
I try. It gets really hard for me sometimes. I'm a West Ham United fan, Sporting Kansas City.
I nod like I know what that means.
Being
I'm like
a shameless homer. So I try to follow it as much as I can. I don't, I'm not able to watch all the games. But the movie will be releasing on April 19th in Japan. Still waiting on international plans to be confirmed for that one. But if you guys are a fan of Nagi and Rio, this follows them before and after their entry into the Gauntlet knockout stage. So this is going to be awesome because Nagi I actually really like a lot. He's like this stereotypical like, hey, I'm just automatically good at everything and like
it's no problem.
It's no problem. But then like he starts trying and actually like wanting to be good. And
they have to be elite to get there.
So really, really amped to see, where the movie goes. I didn't go see Demon Slayer in theaters, but this one I will go see.
Oh, yeah. We've got a front runner, you guys.
But definitely don't forget, you can watch the first season sub and dub on Crunchyroll. I'm actually probably gonna watch it again. I go through this thing with sports animes where I'm like, I need the fever. So I go back and watch. This is why I go back and watch Kuroko so much because I'm like, I just need the hype. And it's like, I could just go watch real basketball for that. But at the same time,
pregame episode Nagi with we're watching the first season again. Okay, so that is the news for this week. But next up, we're going to do one of our favorite segments, if not our favorite segments, which is Hear From You, as we open our mailbag to talk about some sci-fi anime.
Ooh.
Because we thought that this deserved our main spot for the week because there's just so much to get into. So
mailbag's actually moving up. It's got it's getting priority this week.
Exactly. All that is coming up. Stick around. All right. Let's get into the mailbag.
Ooh. I still feel like we should have
to get you off guard.
Yeah, a little bit. I still feel like we should have like a random like post person that comes in and is like, "Hey, here's a letter with your questions."
We just got a letter.
Thank you for following me on that
This is just me singing every theme that comes to mind, like for anything that we bring up. Oh my gosh! But okay, so let's hear from you guys. This question is coming from Moklo on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for writing in. First they say, and then they ask, sci-fi and mystery anime are my number one favorites to watch, parentheses, Psychopaths.
That's a good one.
Yeah, recently had a movie come out, I think last
Providence,
year. What is your favorite sci-fi and mystery anime?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a really good question.
Well, first, what do we say like qualifies for a sci-fi anime? Because there's so many different ways you could take that. Like
there really is. So usually with sci-fi, like for me, I automatically disqualify like most monster or mecha anything because those end up being like the bigger parts of that story. So like for instance, like I love Gurren Lagann, but I don't really see it as a sci-fi anime. I see it as more of a mecha anime.
I do see people like putting Gurren Lagann as like one of their like top for this, so it's really up to debate of like what you think because my first thing that comes to mind is like spaceships time travel and aliens.
Just
and
me being a Trekkie like growing up, like and it's weird. I was a Trekkie and a Star Wars kid. Like you can be both people.
I think most are both, right? Or is there still like I
don't know if the hard divide exists. But usually when I think sci-fi anime, I usually take it from kind of like the Star Trek way of things, right? It's space exploration. It's got some combat, but there's like like the overarching like story of it all. So I feel like it's a little more niche of a genre in anime, especially because it is not for any. Listen to me. Listen.
Yeah.
It's not a gateway genre.
No. I was just gonna say this. Like,
don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, it's sort of like. Just like sci-fi in general as a genre, it has usually like heavier subject matter. There's always some kind of moral dilemma, whether it's about AI or like whatever.
Right.
So if you're not like just naturally into like Dune 2, for example, which just came out, which is a masterwork, and we can talk about that a little later.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it. But I would say, yeah, it's definitely not something that I would choose as like your first anime experience, because just as the genre itself, it kind of can have some headier topics, and most sci-fi anime that come to mind to me usually have their own deeper lore that you have to kind of get into, and like you have to have this sense of suspended disbelief of this world that you're discovering, and it has its own societal laws and all this different stuff, and it can become really heady.
Right.
So if you're not naturally drawn to it, I would choose something a little lighter. However, we do have some picks for this week to answer this question.
Absolutely. Some of the shows we'll talk about will give you a small synopsis of
a little
what's
snippet,
happening, but a lot of them will be kind of dense. So definitely recommend you, if you have the time in your space, your watching space, please go watch some of these shows.
So what would you say are your top?
My top would definitely be Link Click. If you want to talk about something, and I consider it sci-fi because of the way that it plays with, time travel and, going into like the past, or like how they interact with the present. This show is such a ride because the two main characters have the ability to jump into the past via photographs and try and fix things without changing too much. They kind of act as a detective agency, but at the same time, like there's an underlying like sinister plot as a part of, the way they use their powers and other people that have them as well. So it's a really good like mystery sci-fi story. It's
sort of Tenant-esque, like,
right? Yeah, exactly. Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yes, that's on my list
one,
too.
Especially because it's based off of the tabletop and then based off the video game.
Yeah, and talk about an easy rec. Like if you like Cyberpunk the game, you like Cyberpunk the anime. Like,
and then Outlaw Star is probably one of my favorite anime. Again, Toonami era kid, came on Toonami, but also I feel like is an underrated title. That if you just want sci-fi that's spaceships and exploration and lasers,
hacking,
that's it. This is the show for you.
So a couple of mine you already pointed out, of course, Cyberpunk. I think Cowboy Bebop, it just automatically gets on everyone's cool list. Such a classic, oldie but a goodie. But I do have to disagree with you about something. So we were talking about like what qualifies a sci-fi, and you disincluded anything Gundam. So does that include like Evangelion then?
You know what?
Do you consider Evangelion a Gundam? I think I would. Like
it's yeah. If I'm gonna disqualify like all robots was standing, then for me I would personally have to disqualify Evangelion, even though like I can see like why it would be on someone's sci-fi list.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But I don't particularly, basically because of the subject matter of the show, but I don't really think it applies because like a large portion of what draws you in is like the mecha of it all. Then you get the heavier story on top of that. And
by Gundam, I mean like person manning ship.
Right.
Or person manning like robot fighter thing.
Right. And most Gundam series are, yes, primarily about, the mechs, but the underlying current of that story is always some kind of political climate something. And that is also what happens in Evangelion, is that the story is much bigger than it just being about mechs. So I kind of disqualify it from being sci-fi.
For me personally, I will loop it in because I feel like another one on my list is like Serial Experiments Lane, which
I don't think I've seen no.
Yeah, it's about like, it's kind of trippy, to be honest. Like, you kind of like, it was one of those that I finished it and I was like, immediately get on YouTube. I'm like, Serial Lane ending explained. But it's about this girl that sort of like enters a computer.
So it's like Lawnmower Man.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my God.
Wait, what is it? What is that? Am I showing my age right now? What is it?
No, I'm showing my age.
Oh no. Oh no.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, no. Wait, what is it though?
No. Keep going.
Okay. Wait, what is it though? Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah, keep going.
Anyway, so I consider that like I also consider like Metallic Rouge a sci-fi, because it is a lot like cyberpunk in some ways.
Because I don't really see
androids.
Yeah, I don't really see the characters in there as mechs. I think for me, because it feels more tokusatsu and less mech, but then also the environment that it's in is very much like space exploration, and kind of like you said, it has the same
there's
vibe
people
as
in spaceships.
Cyberpunk.
They're in like there's floating buildings. There's like some kind of dystopian element to it, which I think anything like that's like, okay, so this takes place in a world where society itself is not how we think of society. It incorporates tech in a way that we don't right now. The way that technology interacts with humans is like a little dystopian, is what I think qualifies as sci-fi. Or, anything alien. Like, what was that? There's a manga I used to read.
Do we have another manga mystery happening?
Was it Deers, which had like the aliens that came to Earth? Let me look. Because I would also qualify that as a sci-fi.
Yeah, I think, aliens and like androids and stuff.
It is Deers.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Oh my god.
Mystery solved. It only took like 15 seconds. But I mean, I kind of compare it to how you would see like films as sci-fi. It's kind of like how it also qualified anime as sci-fi, right?
And even modern cinema, like Nope. Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Which had some anime references in it.
It had a lot. I would also say, like, as a last one, like the Animatrix, like if you haven't seen that, like the Animatrix is like a really, because the Matrix itself is a very sci-fi film, but the Wachowskis took it one step further with the Animatrix, and they created like this anthology where they had anime companies get involved and flesh out the story of the Matrix. So that's another one. Like if we're gonna stick in the anime realm, that's another one that's cool.
Yeah. I'm going to make the haters mad and say Code Lyoko is also a sci-fi anime. I'm just kidding. It doesn't qualify as an anime, I don't think. But
it doesn't qualify as an...
I would say it's just a cartoon and not an anime.
But that's it. This is a whole bigger conversation just in general. Like there was that whole like Canadian animation boom that was happening, and Code Lyoko was a part of it. And I love that show. So there you go. There's a lot of sci-fi anime that's out there. Like we're only really kind of scratching the surface. And just a small shout for because Mystery was a part of that question as well. We totally went on the sci-fi tangent. But one of mine I called out last week, which was Undead Murder Farce. That's a great, like, very supernatural mystery one. And then Death Note.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I guess that is kind of like a detective drama, if you want to like take it that way. And I have the perfect opportunity to talk about Attack on Titan again.
Here we go.
So
here we go.
Guess what? But so I would also so I'm not going to categorize it as a mystery because I know it is not. I know in my brain it is not. Okay, put down the comment. Like I already know. That is not a mystery anime, okay? But you are, especially in seasons 1 through 3, you sort of are untangling this mystery of what the world really is for those characters. And you're playing detective because there's like unreliable narrators depending on who is telling the story of like how the wall was built and like who humanity is on the other side, like if there is a humanity on their side, like why are the Titans here, where did they come from? And I think that's something really cool that Isayama created with that narrative, is like you are playing detective. You're trying to figure out what is the truth, who you can trust about what the truth is, and slowly more things become unveiled. And it was super cool to find out what I was right about and what I was totally wrong about.
I mean, you're saying it's not, but I mean, kind of at its core, it is, because if you if you strip down like the tightness of it all, right? Like there's a lot about the world that you're having to discover on your own as you're being fed the narrative. And then also, like, I feel like a good mystery, like any kind of mystery story, is built off of the gasp moments. And Attack on Titan definitely had a lot of those. So I mean, your mystery anime is very valid.
I mean, there are other ones too, but I just of course wanted to gratuitously talk about Attack on Titan. It's just always going to be a thing. Sorry.
And then Promised Neverland is another one.
Yes, I think I spoke about Promised Neverland a bit ago. But that's another one where, we were talking about like the best first episodes. So I think Promised Neverland is sort of the same thing, where it's like the first episode leaves you with this question, and all of the episodes that follow are you seeing this world, was once like a pleasant place for these orphans, turn into like a horror nightmare. And
the world just never lets up on them after a while.
Figure that out. So I don't know, man. Maybe we're going off on a tangent, but I think like it really depends on how you want to concretely define the genre.
Right.
Because we even have different understandings of like what a sci-fi anime is.
The level set for mystery is going to be Detective Conan, and I stand on that.
Exactly. But yeah, so thank you for writing in. We love to hear from you guys, and keep them coming. So up next, we are going to talk about our recommendations for the week. What we love, what we want you to love, etc., etc. I'll just get into it because I was going to say this last week.
But we changed it.
Yeah, and it was too late to say it the week before, but I loved Dune 2. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go see it. I thankfully watch it with someone who has encyclopedic knowledge of the franchise itself. I watched Dune 1 also, but there's so much that you miss in between about this world and the structure. Talking about sci-fi anime and lore, I mean, there is a ton of lore there and things to learn. So luckily I had someone to watch it with me that could be like, okay, so the reason this happened is because the Bene Gesserit, this and that. So there's a lot to like tackle there. But I think it is a masterwork. Yeah. I think Fade Rotha is going to go down in history as like one of the best on-screen villains. Or would you say that? I mean,
I don't know.
He didn't get a ton of screen time.
So I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen it? I haven't seen it. I watched it in the D-Box too. So I was like, right in that sandworm, baby. We were... I'm literally Muad'Dib right now. Bro, I literally rode Shai Hulud. Bro. Anyway, but yeah, definitely take a watch of that. I think, and of course I watched like a ton of behind the scenes footage from Dune 1 afterwards. And I just have such an appreciation for the care and attention to detail that went into this movie, this film. I won't spoil it for you, but there's a whole sequence that is shot in like this stunning black and white. Oh. And little did I know, it's because the planet that sequence was filmed in actually has a black sun. And so everything in that scene was black and white, because later on they have like shots of like the characters indoors and they're like normally lit. So there's just a lot of really cool decisions that were made. But yeah, so what are some things you've been into this week?
Oh, man. Okay. You know how Nick has his rom-com corner?
Oh, yes. I know it well.
This is This is the Graps as told by Lee this week. 2 weekends ago, AEW Revolution happened. Sting is one of my favorite pro wrestlers in the world.
The lead singer of The Police?
Yes, him. But he had his last match 2 weekends ago. Listen, I say last match. The dude is like 64, taking crazy bumps off of like ladders and tables.
He was taking bumps?
Like when I say taking bumps, I mean like being hit really hard and landing on tables and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. I have to qualify it for the people though. But I mean, it was a fantastic ending to a career. My dad loved pro wrestling, and I was watching with him at the height of like the Monday Night Wars. And Sting was a very big part of WCW when they were going against the WWF at the time. And Crow Sting will forever be like burned into my brain because he's, coming down from the rafters and he had a bat, and it's like 20 NWO members and he's got one bat and he's like swinging off, and it's crazy.
I really wish that I had like grown up in that, because everybody that talks about it
such a good time.
Speaks about it so endearingly, and I have major FOMO about it.
Like the Monday Night Wars / like Attitude Era of wrestling was like, I think that's it really paved the way for like a lot of the wrestling we have now, and as far as like, characters and what can be done in the ring and where you get your different kind of wrestling from. Because at the time, like, people were only watching one product, and then now you have two products, and then now you've got like 5 major wrestling promotions and everybody will watch them all. And then another call out from that show, Will Ospreay is one of the top 3 pro wrestlers in the world. He's also really cool because his whole like move set is based off of Assassin's Creed. It's really awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His last match in
Altair?
Yes. His last match in Rev Pro and his last match in New Japan, they both did like, he had a collaboration with Ubisoft, and it did like the lineage of the assassins, and he's like the last of the assassins, and like
talk about a narrative.
His finishing move is called the Hidden Blade. Like it's nuts. But he had his opening match for AEW, because he just signed with them last year, was against Takeshita. Like, those dudes went 40-ish minutes, tore the house down. Easily
boots the house down.
Easily match of the year. And we're like in March. Like, we have a lot of wrestling to go for the rest of the year. But I mean, those guys, like, they tore it down. And then it really only made me want to watch Tiger Mask W again. So
I have no idea what that is, but
there's your anime rec for the week. If you want a sports anime. Yeah, Tiger Mask W it's based off of the Japanese wrestler Tiger Mask.
Did you ever watch that anime that used to be, I know it from Saturday morning cartoons, but I'm sure it's
You're talking about Ultimate Muscle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, that's my jam.
Dude, that show was
Love
awesome.
Ultimate Muscle.
Do you remember that episode where there was a guy who's like, the roots are gonna turn me into root beer? Yeah. I have tried so hard to find that clip, and I can't find it anywhere, but like, that's the only thing I remember from that show.
I think that dub has been buried.
I know, right? Like, what were they actually saying? Like, what? But yeah,
no, it's and Ultimate Muscle is still fairly popular. So, and I think they're either an anniversary just passed or one is coming up, and we're getting new like content.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm stoked. So, everything always comes back to anime, even if it's wrestling. Well, those were our recommendations for the week. Thank you for letting us go off the rails
again.
Multiple
Nick
times.
is going to watch this, and he's going to be like,
I'm never leaving
you guys didn't stay on the topic once. But yeah, hopefully you found something that you want to check out this week.
For sure.
We also want to know your recs. Like, what are you guys watching? What anime is like Dune?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, let me know.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Anime Effect, brought to you by Crunchyroll and the people over at Sony Music Entertainment. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Crunchyroll presents The Anime Effect is hosted by me, Leah President, me, Nicholas Friedman, and LeAlec Murray.
We are executive produced by Jonathan Hirsch, Sharon Morris, Alex Lawless, and
Nick Friedman.
Our lead producer is Kyla Carnero, and our associate producer is Zoe Culkin. Patrick Emile edited and mixed the episode's audio. Tyler Lucas filmed and edited the video. Our head of production is Sammy Allison. Special thanks to Tamika Balance-Kolosny and Lauren Moore.
Shout out. And of course, we will be back next week with even more anime, and our lovely cutout here will be a real boy.
Yeah, Nick
He'll be a real boy.
Nick will finally be back, and we'll be in proper seating position.
Yeah, we won't be playing musical chairs next
For sure.
time. Well, I didn't move at all, but
we had to.
Yeah. But yeah, see you guys then.
Later days.
Also, when we look at the video, or can you tell me, has this been an upskirt shot the whole time?
No, you don't see me.
Okay, thank goodness. Because I noticed halfway through that I was like sitting, like I was like man spreading halfway through, and I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to crop it. But okay.